Hello everyone, I'm Babli Jonathan and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital. Dwelling our top stories tonight, the head of state of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, is qualified as a dictator who has no pity for his country by foreign media. This is contained in reports provoked by President Paul Biya's candidacy for the 2018 presidential election after close to 4 decades in power. The national chairman of the main opposition political party in the Republic of Cameroon, the Social Democratic Front SDF, John Fundi, calls on the head of state Paul Biya to call for a ceasefire and immediately withdraw the military in the northwest and southwest regions of the country hit by socio-political crisis for more than 2 years. Today, he was speaking in a Thanksgiving service in the northwest regional capital, Bamenda. And out of the country, young Ivorians could emerge at the top of the nation in 2020. The president of that country, Alassane Dramane Ouattara, has announced plans to transfer power to a new generation. Those were top stories. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. Some foreign media organs have been reacting to President Paul Biya's decision to seek for a 7th term in office by taking part in the October 7, 2018 presidential election in the Republic of Cameroon. And the media organs, some of them have qualified President Paul Biya as a dictator who has no pity for his country. Innocent as a report.
L'Express du Faso, a newspaper in Burkina Faso, on its front page titles as major news, Paul Biya does not have pity for his country Cameroon as he announced to run for the October 7, 2018 presidential election despite his 35 years rule and his old age, 85 years. Zimbabwe Today presents Paul Biya as an aged dictator. It further stresses that the senior citizen wants to run for a 7th term even though he has been in power for 35 years. According to Zimbabwe Today, President Paul Biya resides in Switzerland and visits his country Cameroon few days a year and holds cabinet meetings every 3 years. Press Cote d'Ivoire.ci, an Ivorian online media, focalizes on the Twitter choice by President Paul Biya to announce his candidacy. According to RFI, the head of state used 270 words to silence mouths of many observers. 1 hour after the announcement on Twitter, 194 tweets were recorded and later amounted to a total of 328,000 tweets. BBC News announced President Paul Biya is one of the African leaders who have stayed in power. Under him, Cameroon has witnessed an economic crisis. BBC News also announces that under President Paul Biya, corruption has eaten deep Cameroon, decried by most non-governmental organizations. It also notes that the nation has entered a conflict period where the minority English speakers are demanding their independence from the other 8 regions over marginalization claims. It is worth mentioning debates have also continued to heat up at the national level like the international scene regarding Biya's determination to seek for a 7th term of office come October 7.
And one of the factions of the Movement for African New Independence and Democracy, Mandem political party led by Nise Kane, one of the founding members of that political party, has maintained that President Paul Biya should not go for another election. In other words, should not seek for another term in office. Nise Kane was speaking to the press today here in the economic capital, Douala. For me, Armstrong Sander reports.
Anise Ekane will not be standing as candidate for the October 7, 2018 presidential election in Cameroon. The founding member of the Movement for African New Independence and Democracy, Mandem, released the information in a press conference in Douala. According to him, Cameroon is in a socio-political and security crisis, and finding a solution to the problems should be the priority of every true patriot.
Nous avons dit depuis des mois
We have said it time and again that 1,000 elections is not a solution to the Anglophone crisis. From what we see, the intention, motivation and objectives of most of these candidates do not entice us in getting into that. And he said Ekane's fraction of Manidem prefer to use the electoral campaign period to educate Cameroonians on the challenges faced by the country in view of helping them to make right choices, notably concerning the Anglophone crisis. And he said Ekane's declaration is contrary to that of Dieudonné Yebga, acting president of Manidem, who declared that Manidem will take part in all elections organized this year.
We don't want to add our voice to this cacophony. We want to give our position during this presidential campaign, to give a message to Cameroonians that what is important is to know why one candidate another is in this election. Not only Biya must go. It's a very simple message for a candidate.
About President Paul Biya's candidacy, Anise Ekane reiterated that his party had warned President Paul Biya against standing as candidate again. However, Anise Ekane, who will not be challenging Paul Biya this time around, believes there are other means through which Cameroonians can get rid of the Paul Biya regime.
Dictators want to be won by elections. We are revolutionary people, and we know in the history of the world that dictators will not be won by elections.
He said the opposition can achieve this through a concrete and meaningful development program and not only the Biya must go slogan.
Within the same vein, the Social Democratic Front National Chairman John Frundi has called on the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, to call for an immediate ceasefire and equally immediately withdraw troops from the northwest and southwest regions of the country. This, according to him, will open the way for the Anglophone crisis to find lasting solutions, notably through dialogue that has been on the lips of most political leaders as well as civil society actors in and out of the country. John Frundi was speaking at a Thanksgiving service in the Northwest Regional Capital. Baminda, we have details in the upcoming report.
It is in the heat of the socio-political unrest that has been disturbing the people of the Northwest and Southwest regions that the chairman of the main opposition party, the Social Democratic Front, SDF party, brought together Christians of the Presbyterian Church, Musang, to thank God for his life. John Frundi, who has been calling for a peaceful resolution of the ongoing crisis, says he has been also threatened a number of times and it is necessary. He thanks God for his life.
The five checkers in the compound, I followed the police right into GMR. When I hung on the neck of the policeman who fired the checkers into the compound, before I turned my back, I saw the governor. So I asked him, what are you going to do yet? Let this man finish speaking. He said, you will not finish, I'm about to take you back. So I have to thank God for all of you. They came through fire on my house to burn me in the house. When I got up that night, I was wearing a short pajamas. So I put my hand in the pocket and I was laughing. The children said that the government is burning and laughing. I said, children, from the worst.
Apart from his life being threatened at one point, the party also received threats.
For us to have the convention, it was not easy. I postponed many times. But in the end, I have to say that we are holding it today. And we held it. Thereafter, the senatorial election came up. It was another hard task again. Let us not do it. Let us not do this. I know that we have people abroad who tell you, Frundi, get out of parliament, get out of senate, get out of council. Don't do this, don't do that.
All of these, he said, merited him to thank God, who has given him the grace. Before the several Christians who turned out for the church service, the chairman of the Social Democratic Front sent this appeal to the President of the Republic, Paul Biya.
If I have an appeal to make to God's house, is that Mr. Biya should tell his troops to put their guns down and get out. And when this is done, I know that all of you seated here will shout one voice for your children to put their guns and come out of the bush. Then we can march down the commercial avenue, hand in hand, singing praises to God to say at last it is finished.
But also reminded those fighting that it is not only by arms that a war is being fought and won.
There are two ways of fighting a war. We are fighting the war with our guns in the bush. I have to thank God for those children in the bush because we have been lost. I'm fighting my own God with my mouth. And when I meet Mr. Biya, I tell him in the face, Mr. President, this is wrong. In a duty, not outside.
Apart from the Christians of PC Musang, the Thanksgiving service was attended by Northwest Regional Governor Adolphe Lele Lafrique, alongside senators and MPs of the SDF, funds and mayors of the region.
African Union has commended the efforts of the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, in finding solutions to the Anglophone crisis after the visit of the chairperson of the African Union Commission to Cameroon. In a release, the organization of the continent has commended the efforts of the President of the Republic, welcoming the determination expressed by President Paul Biya and, of course, the initiative taken in that regard, including the launching of the humanitarian emergency plan to respond to humanitarian needs on the ground, and reaffirming the African Union's unwavering commitment to the unity and territorial integrity of Cameroon and rejection of the causes to violence. He called for an inclusive dialogue and urged all stakeholders to privilege this path to facilitate a lasting way out of the crisis based on national leadership and ownership, and that will strengthen Cameroon's unity while respecting its diversity. The African Union is equally indicating that it is ready to support any effort to this end and in accordance with its responsibilities under its relevant instruments. In the meantime, the United States of America is deeply worried by the video that emerged on social media and went viral, of course, indicating, according to the images and the information by an international non-governmental organization, that some Cameroonian soldiers were torturing and, of course, killing some persons who are family members of the suspected Boko Haram militants. And the United States has called on the Cameroon government to launch an in-depth investigation into the matter in order to unveil the truths behind those images rejected by the Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson Issa Chirma Bakari, who indicated that the Cameroonian military is not in any way connected to that violent video. And now we talk something else, talking about the visit to the Republic of Cameroon of the Grand Master of the Sovereign Order of Malta, His Most Eminent Highness Fra Giacomo Dalla Torre del Tampio Di Sanguinito, who has been awarded a doctorate degree in the philosophy at the University of Yaoundé 1 by the rector of that institution, Professor Maurice Aurel Soso, and he is now Dr. Honoris Causa fra Giacomo dalla Torre del Tempio di San Ginito, and he was invited by President Paul Biya. The Grand Master will be visiting the refugee camp in the east region of the country and Njombe in the Mungo division before his departure from Cameroon. Barrister Sim Emmanuel has condemned the fact that some groups of lawyers have put themselves together to defend the House Speaker Kavayeke Jibril in a case that was filed at the military court in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, notably concerning his bodyguard. Barrister Sim says that the concern, notably the President of the National Assembly, Kavayeke Jibril, had denied that he did not file any lawsuit against his former bodyguard, but some lawyers came up to defend the President of the National Assembly, and there was a heated debate at the military court today. And at the end of the debate, the President of the court accepted that the lawyers should go ahead to defend Kavayeke Jibril, even though he had denied that he did not file any case against his former bodyguard. This is an extract of Barrister Emmanuel Sim.
Yes, last time in this court, Mr. Kavayeke Jibril sent a letter to the President telling that he has never complained against his nephew, Mr. Uba Simala. And he said again that he has never been heard even in inquiry or before the judge. So today, I suppose that if Mr. Kavaye has not did a complaint, he cannot be part of this matter. That is my position legally. But the judge said that Mr. Kavayeke Jibril can continue to have lawyers in this case. That is the decision of the judge. We are waiting the next time, and we hope that this time we'll go over, and that this case should maybe have an end.
In a feature page in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television, to take you to the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda, and we're going to show you the deplorable state of roads in that city. Cameroon's Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda, a city of bad roads. The decades-old roads running across the city are in an ugly state.
All the quarters in Bamenda are bad. The greater Meta quarter, the road leading to Rendezvous, and of course, Darikon. In fact, all the roads are damaged.
From Optician to Nkwen, Cow Street, Ghana Street, Commercial Avenue, you see Ayaba Street, Meta Quarter Street, Food Market, Darikon, everywhere in town. It's a very catastrophic. It's not resemble the Bamenda city. Very bad. All the road in town.
Here, every step that you take, either in a car or on foot, make only a pothole.
Commuters say moving from one part of the city to another is a nightmare.
Cars, bikes, even pedestrians are finding it very difficult to move in this town.
We have a patient like that to carry to the hospital. It's a serious problem.
The deplorable state of roads in Bamenda is negatively affecting business, especially for taxi drivers and commercial motorbike riders. This is one of the issues that provoked the social unrest led by imprisoned Mancho Bibizi.
We are very angry. Throughout the time, there is no work because the roads are bad, customers are not going because these are not moving.
Bamenda city dwellers are urging public authorities to rehabilitate their roads.
Let the government do something as far as the road of the state of Cameroon is concerned in the state of Bamenda. In fact, something should be done.
A project to rehabilitate major roads through the city, recently launched by the Ministry of Public Works, is yet to provide visible answers to their plight. Out of Cameroon, the Ivorian President Alassane Dramane Ouattara has announced plans to transfer power to the younger generation by 2020. He was speaking during the General Assembly of a new political party, bringing together 5 other political parties in that country. We have details in this report. Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara sends signals of possible transmission of power to the younger generation during the General Assembly of a new political party, le Rassemblement des Oufouettistes pour la Démocratie et la Paix, RHDP. He said, I quote, "Today, France has a 40-year-old president. I'm not saying that I am old, but it is worth thinking about." Highlighting the fact that the world is changing, Alassane Ouattara said he and Konan Bédié, leader of the Parti Démocratique de Côte d'Ivoire, PDCI, ought to work together toward transferring power to a new generation in 2020. Media reports have interpreted this statement to mean Alassane Ouattara will not stand as candidate in 2020. Meantime, Konan Bédié and his PDCI party have refused to be part of the new political party, Rassemblement des Oufouettistes pour la Démocratie et la Paix, which brings together 5 political parties. Konan Bédié and the PDCI rejected the terms of agreement signed by the other 5 political parties to form the RHDP. The PDCI supported Alassane Ouattara during 2 presidential elections and is expecting Ouattara and his followers to do same in 2020.
And that's it for this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Thanks for staying with us. Goodbye.